So hello everyone, welcome to Sir C.R. Reddy College of Engineering online education. So in the last class, we did some problems by considering the case 2. Case 2 means here economical load dispatch problems by considering the losses. So with that, we have completed all the problems in the case 2. And similarly at the end, we did 2 to 3 problems from a previous PSU bits. And coming to this class, we are going to solve some more examples from the PSU bits, especially from GATE and IES. Let us take a first bit for this class. So all of you look at this problem. So already I told you that when you are writing any PSUs or any competitive examination, you need to change your mindset because for this type of examination, the time is very, very less. When you are considering university examination, you will have a huge time. So easily with your flexible mind, you can solve any type of question. But coming to this competitive examination, within a very fraction of time, you must be able to identify the answer from the given options. Now, let us consider this problem. First, read the problem, then understand the problem, then pick up the answer. While you are studying the problem itself, you must be able to pick up the correct answer from the given options. Just think of it for a while. Everything is there on your slide. All these questions are nothing but a PSU's previous questions only. It may be from GATE or it may be from IES or it may be from different PSUs based upon the technical concepts. Very good. Roll number 18 series 52 is giving that answer is D. Then what about the remaining people? Give your response in our chat box. Just drop your answer in our chat box. One more person is saying that answer is C. Roll number 218. And the remaining people are saying that answer is D. Then what about the remaining people? You must be proactive when you are solving a PSU's questions. So once I explain the solution for these questions, then you may think that this problem is very, very easy. But before solving of this example, you may think that this is so tough. The reason here it is, this is a lack of practice or lack of basics. So when you have fundamentals strongly, then automatically you can pick up one answer. Just take a moment and drop your answer in our chat box. Because I have given formulas also for you. So now let us consider this problem. The current distribution factors for the power system network shown below are given by. So this is so-and-so power system. So what it represents here, basically, we have two power plants are there, P1 and P2. And in between P1 and P2, we have transmission line, and the most important in this diagram is the load is connected very near to the power plant 2. So once you understand this problem like this, then automatically you can pick up one correct answer from the given 4 options. So what is the formula for current distribution factors? This is NK1 is nothing but the current distribution factor for power plant 1. Similarly, NK2 is current distribution factor for power plant 2, and which is given by IK1 by IL, where IL is nothing but load current. So here also IL is nothing but load current. But what is the meaning of IK1 in power plant 1? Similarly, what is the meaning of IK2 in power plant 2? So once you know the meaning of IK1 and IK2, then easily we can pick up a right answer. So here, IK2 and IK1 are nothing but the currents which are present in the transmission network. Means, in this we have two power plants are there, P1 and P2. Here the load is connected very near to the power plant 2. Now tell me, is there any necessity to have transmission line in between power plant 2 to the load? No, because this load is very near to the power plant 2. So that's why there is no necessity of a transmission line in between P2 to load. But here we must have transmission line from P1 to load. Now tell me, IK1 is nothing but the current which is present in our transmission network, and IK2 is nothing but the current which is present in our transmission line in between power plant 2 to load. Now tell me the answer now. Roll number 52 is saying that answer is C. Please everybody try to give the response. IL is common, but we need to understand what is the meaning of IK1 and IK2. So now I am getting the answer is C. Yes, very good. Now, if you consider this case, what is the value of IK2? Already I told you that IK2 is nothing but the current which is present in the transmission network, which is present in between power plant 2 to the load. Here, no transmission line, so no current. No current means IK2 is equals to 0. So once IK2 equals to 0, then what about NK2 value? It is nothing but it's 0. Okay, so once you observe options, A is also Na2 is equals to 0. Similarly, in the C option also, Na2 equals to 0. Then again, we need to consider Na1. In the case 1, Na1 equals to 0, and in the C option, Na1 equals to 1. Then out of these two, which one is right? A option or C option? Here, IK1 is equals to 0 or not equals to 0? This IK1 is nothing but the current which is present in the transmission network, which is present from P1 to load. Here definitely we must have a transmission network. So once if you have the transmission network, definitely current will be there. So here IK1 is not equals to 0. So that's why the answer is C. Okay, the answer is C. Okay, did you understand everybody? Say yes or no. Okay, I'm getting the responses. Then let us consider one more bit. So tell me answer for this one. So for the PSU's questions, no need to use your calculators, pen and book also. Because directly by seeing the question itself, you must be able to give the correct answer. Now, tell me the answer for this one now. answer is B. Roll number 18 series 221 is saying that answer is B. And A0 is saying that answer is C. So I am getting two different answers. Please everybody try to guess the answer now. And drop your answer in our chat box so that I can understand. See, most of the people are giving the response in between B and C options. In between B and C options. So the people who are giving the response as B, once observe a given option, what is the value of L1 and L2? Just observe what is the value of L1 and L2 in B option. 18 series 230 is saying that answer is D. '18 series 250 is saying that answer is C only, sir. '18 series 234, just raise your hand, please. Drop your doubt in our chat box. 234. Now let's try to understand this problem. In a two-plant system, the entire load is located at plant 2, which is connected to plant 1 by a transmission line. Plant 1 supplies 100 megawatt of power with a corresponding transmission loss of 5 megawatts. Then, what are the values of penalty factors for a power plant 1 and power plant 2? So this is the corresponding diagram which represents your given question. So we have two power plants are there, P1 and P2. The load is connected to the very near to your power plant 2. And when a 100 megawatt power is transmitted from power plant 1 to the load side, a 5 megawatt loss is occurred in your transmission line. Then what would be the values of penalty factors? Means L1 and L2. Now we have seen the same type of problem in the previous classes. When the load is very connected near to the power plant 2, there is no transmission line. There is no transmission line means, what about your incremental power loss with respect to the power generation, which is represented as dou PL by dou P2? It is nothing but 0. Once it is 0, we know the formula for L2. It is given by 1 minus dou PL by dou P2. When you substitute dou PL by dou P2 is equals to 0, then you will get L2 value equals to 1. So L2 value is equals to 1 is present in A option, at the same time C option. Then coming to L1 value. In the A option, L1 value is 0. In the C option, L1 value is equals to 1.11. Now tell me, when I was explaining the significance of penalty factor, what would be the value of possible values of your L1? Is it possible to have L1 value is equals to 0 practically? No, it's not at all possible. Your penalty factor value, it is greater than or equals to 1. Greater than or equals to 1 only. So that's why the answer is 1.11 for L1. So final answer is nothing but C. Okay. So now let us consider one more problem. So all of you try to understand this problem. So all of you look at this problem and try to understand the problem. Of course, I have not given any options because this is a 2 marks question in your GATE examination. So that's why it takes some time. So let us try to understand this problem. A system consisting of 2 power plants connected by a transmission line, and the load is located at plant 2. When a 100 megawatt is transmitted from power plant 1, a loss of 10 megawatt is occurred in your transmission line. And one more given data is the incremental cost is equals to 30 rupees per megawatt hour. Then they're asking generation schedule and load demand. Means we need to find out here P1 and P2 at the same time PD. So here, based upon this model, we have done almost 3 to 4 problems. And easily we can get the answers from given data. So in this problem, we need to find out P1 and P2, similarly PD. So how we can get the answer? And similarly, we know IC1 and IC2. These two are nothing but incremental fuel cost for power plant 1 and power plant 2. So by using this given data, easily we can get the P1 and P2 values and similarly load demand. Okay, so just equate this IC1 and IC2 and we know the lambda value also. So from these two equations, we can get P1 value and P2 value. And from the given data, find out your PL value. So once you know the P1, P2 and PL, easily we can calculate PD value by taking power balance equation. What is a power balance equation? P1 plus P2 is equals to PD plus PL. We know each and everything now. P1 value, P2 value, and similarly PL value. We know each and everything, so directly we can find out our PD value. So that's why I'm leaving this question for your practice. Okay. Now let's consider one more important problem. So all of you try to understand problem because this problem is entirely different when compared to your previous problems. So that's why try to understand this problem. And this type of problem you may get frequently in any competitive examination bit because this bit has a lot of importance. So that's why try to understand the problem. Take a moment and read the problem, then understand the problem. Then I will explain now. Now let's try to understand the problem. A turbine generator set has a regulation constant of 5%. And the generator rating is 100 MVA and 50 Hz. And the generator frequency is decreases by 0.02 Hz. Then the increase in the turbine output power for a steady state operation is. So we have 4 options are there. We need to pick up one correct answer from these 4 options. So before getting the pick up the answer, first of all, try to understand the given problem. Because this is a completely different problem when compared to our previous 27 problems. Because we have not solved this type of problem till now. So that's why we need to spend some time for this problem. So what they have given in the problem, a turbine generator set has a regulation constant of 5%. So when you are considering turbine generator set, that means this regulation is related to the speed. When the speed we are taking, then automatically that regulation can be also considered as frequency regulation. So that's why in this case, regulation constant of 5% means we can consider this 5% as frequency change. Okay, once again I'm saying, when we are taking turbine generator set, the regulation is nothing but related to the speed parameter. And we know from the basics, Ns is equals to 120F by P. So here, N is directly proportional to frequency. When we are talking about speed, we can consider that one as frequency. So that's why whatever the 5% is present in your given data, this 5% change can be considered as frequency change. That is nothing but your first point. Our next point is they have given the generator rating. What is the generator rating here? 100 MVA and 58. This 58 is nothing but our rated frequency, and the rating of the generator is 100 MVA. And when you are seeing outside, practically all the alternators are operating at fixed power factor. So that's why you can consider this 100 MVA as 100 megawatts. So the generator rating is nothing but 100 megawatts and 58. This is one more given data. And one more given data is, if the generator frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz. What is the standard frequency we are using? 50 hertz. From that 50 hertz, once the frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz, means the frequency comes from 50 hertz to 49.98. So when the frequency is decreases by 0.02, then how much power is increased in the turbine side? We need to find out that one. Whether it may be 0.8 megawatts, or 8 megawatts, or 3.6, or 0.2 megawatts. Okay, understood everybody? Now let me take the same problem in diagrammatic way. So for example, let's consider this is a turbine generator setup. These are nothing but a mechanically coupled. The output of the turbine is fed to the input of the generator, and output of the generator is connected to the load side. When the demand is increases for your generator, the automatically speed of the generator is also decreases. When the speed of the generator is decreases, the frequency is also decreases. But practically outside, we need to maintain a constant frequency. How we can maintain constant frequency? Again, we need to increase the input of your generator. From where we are getting the input of your generator? From the turbine side. So that's why what they are asking is, when the frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz, then how much power we need to increase in the turbine side? Did you understand everybody? Just drop your response in our chat box. Okay, I'm getting the responses. Yes, we understood, sir. Okay. Because before solving the question, we must understand the problem. Once you understand the problem, almost 50 to 60% solution is over. So once again, I'm saying that this is nothing but the set of turbine and generator. The turbine output is connected to the input of your generator. From the generator, we will get electrical output, and that output is connected to the load side. When the load is increases, then automatically the speed of the generator is decreases. When the speed of the generator is decreases means, as we have direct relation between your speed and frequency, so that frequency is also decreases. In this case, the frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz. But practically we need to maintain frequency at 50 hertz. So in order to maintain frequency at 50 hertz, again we need to increase the speed. How we can increase the speed? By increasing the output from the turbine. That is, they're asking. Once frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz, then how much power we need to increase in the turbine side? Okay, and one more given data is regulation constant is equals to 5%. Already I told you that when we are talking about turbine generator set, this regulation can be considered as a frequency regulation, means frequency change is equals to 5%. Now, let us consider the curve between frequency and real power. So when you are considering the curve between frequency and the real power, this shows that entire given data is present in this curve. So this is nothing but our rated frequency 50 Hz. At 50 Hz, what is the corresponding rated power here? 100 megawatts, which is present in our given data. This 100 megawatt is present at 50 Hz frequency. And what they are asking, when the frequency is decreases by 0.02, that is, it comes from 50 to 49.98, what is the power value? That is nothing but P2. So once you find P2 value, whatever the difference is there between P2 and 100 megawatt, that is nothing but increased power in the turbine side. Understanding everybody? So this 100 megawatt is nothing but rated power at rated frequency, that is nothing but at 50 Hz. And from the given data, when the frequency is decreases by 0.02 Hz, means when it comes from 50 Hz to 49.98 Hz, what is the corresponding power? That is nothing but P2. So we need to find out here P2. P2 is not a final answer. What they're asking, increased power in the turbine side. So increased power means the difference between 100 megawatts and P2. So this is nothing but this portion represents the increased power in the turbine side. So once you know the P2 value, easily you can find the difference between P2 and 100 megawatts. So how we can find the P2 value? Very simple. First, let us try to understand what is this black line. So this is nothing but the slope which is present in between frequency and real power. So this frequency, and already I told you that we have two groups are there in our power system. Group one is nothing but real power versus frequency. When the real power demand is increases, your frequency is decreases in a linear relationship. So that's why this curve is nothing but linear. So when the curve is linear, from our fundamentals, the slope is constant at any point. This is nothing but linear curve. So when you are having linear curve, the slope is always constant. So what is the slope here? Y by x, or you can say y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Here y-axis is nothing but represents your frequency, x-axis represents your real power. So that's why we will try to equate two different slopes. Let us try to take two different slopes, that is nothing but in between 0 to 100 megawatts. Similarly, we need to take 0 to P2. When you are taking 0 to 100 megawatts, what are the limits for your y-axis? The limits for your y-axis in between 0 to 100, that is 0 to 52.5. Okay, or you can consider 52.5 to 50. Similarly, what about your limits for your x-axis? 0 to 100 megawatts. Understanding everybody? So we need to find out the slope in between this point and this point. Okay, the slope in between this point and in this point. That is nothing but your slope 1. So for this line, what are your y values? 52.5 and 58, and what are your x values? 0 and 100 megawatt. Understanding everybody? So I want to find out the slope for this line up to this point. So for this line, the y values are nothing but 52.5 and 50. The x values are nothing but 0 and 100 megawatt. Similarly, I will take one more slope from this point to starting point, this point to this point, P2. As someone is asking that doubt, very good. He's getting the answer that P2 is equals to 100.8. So he's giving the answer, roll number 18 series 252. So let's see the first answer. Okay. So find out the slope in between this point to this point. Similarly, this point to P2. So when you are considering the slopes, Let us see. Let us try to calculate the slopes, two different slopes. So this is nothing but the slope calculations. First one is 52.5 minus 50 by 100 minus 0. That is slope in between this point to this point. Then you will get 52.5 minus 50 divided by 100 minus 0. That is nothing but this slope. And it should be equals to one more slope, that is nothing but from starting point to up to P2 value. So up to P2 value means what are the y values? 52.5 to 49.98. So that's why we can write here 52.5 minus 49.98 divided by what are the x values here? P2 minus 0. So you will get here P2. That equals to 2.52 divided by P2. So from this, tell me P2 value in our chart box. And similarly, drop your response on this problem, whether you are understanding or not. Because this problem is entirely different when compared to our previous problems. Still now we have not covered this type of problem. This is nothing but a previous GATE, at the same time previous IAS examination data. Find out P2 value and drop your P2 value in our chat box. Yes, roll number 52, 53 and B8 is giving that P2 value is equals to 100.8 megawatt. And similarly, I want to know that response on this problem, whether you understood or not. Because this problem is very, very important. Till now, we have not covered the same model. So that's why I'm spending some extra time for this problem. Okay, very good. So P2 value is 100.8 megawatts. This is not your final answer. What they're asking, increased power in the turbine power. Means we know the P2 value. Already I told you that whatever the difference is there between P2 to 100 megawatts, that will be our final answer. So what is our final answer? 100 minus 8 minus 100. That is nothing but our final answer. That is 0.8 megawatt is nothing but our answer. So that's why our answer is nothing but A is equals to 0.8 megawatts. Understood everybody? Yes, very good. Roll number 52 and A3 is giving that 0.8 megawatt. Very good. Means what is the conclusion or what is our observation from this problem? Tell me. When the frequency is decreases by 0.02 hertz, in order to maintain the constant frequency, means generally our constant frequency is 50 hertz. But when the demand is increases, our frequencies comes to 49.98. Again, we need to bring this 49.98 frequency to again 50 hertz. So for this one, we need to bring 100 megawatt to 100.8 megawatt. We need to increase the power from 100 megawatts to 100.8 megawatt so that we can maintain our frequency at 50 hertz. This is nothing but our observation from this problem. Okay, then we'll take one more problem. Then all of you look at this problem and give the answer. So this is so easy. So while you are studying this problem, you can pick up one answer. No need to use your calculator or pen now, because we have done some problems based upon this model. Tell me answer in our chat box. This is one mark in your previous GATE examination. Yes, I got a response from roll number 18 now, and similarly B8. So someone is saying that answer is D, and one more is saying that answer is B. So there is a mismatch in between your answers. Someone is saying that 1.4828. In terms of options, please drop your answer in our chat box, whether it is A option or B option or C or D. Just drop your answers in our chat box. This bit is very, very easy, and by seeing this problem, easily we can say that answer. 17 series A3 is giving that B, and A5 is also giving that B. Means so many people are giving the answer is B. So let's see the bit. So here they have given the incremental fuel cost for the two power plants, and the system is running at P1 is equals to 100 and P2 is equals to 100 megawatt. And one more given data is if dou PL by dou PT is equals to 0.2, then the penalty factors will be given by. So once you know the dou PL by dou P2, can you find L2 value? So easily we can find L2 value. How we can find L2 value? What is the formula for L2? It is nothing but 1 by 1 minus dou PL by dou P2. Just to substitute 0.2 in this problem means 1 by 1 minus 0.2 means 1 by 0.8. Then you will get, what is the value of 1 by 0.8? Tell me. 1 by 0.8 is nothing but 1.25. So your L2 value is 1.25. But when you see the answers, 1.25 is present in the A option. Similarly, 1.25 is also present in the B option. Then again, we need to consider L1 value. So in between 1.428 and 1, what value we need to consider? Your L1 value is 1.428 or 1. Just tell me your answer in our chat box. Means here you have only two options, either A or B. So out of these two, pick up one answer. Most of the people are saying that answer is B. Just find out L1 value. So already I told you that. So for solving this problem, no, don't use your calculator and pen and book. By seeing this problem, definitely you can pick up one correct answer. What would be the correct answer? So we know L2 value that is given by 1.25. And when you see the given options, L2 equal to 1.25 is present in two options, A and B. Then what would be the correct answer? It is A or B. Very good. 18 series 207 is giving that L1 value is 1.428. So here we need to pick up answer in between A and B. Here L1 value is 1.428. Here L1 value is equals to 1. Now tell me in which case we will get a penalty factor value is equals to 1. When the load is very near to that particular power plant, in that case only we will get penalty factor value is equals to 1. But is there any information which is related to the where the load is present in your given data? No. No data is there which is related to where the load is there. So that's why we cannot say here L1 value is equals to 1. And one more thing is P1 is equals to 100 and P2 is equals to 100. So that's why easily we can pick up here L1 value is equals to 1.428. For example, in your given data, when the load is connected to very near to your power plant 1, then you can pick up L1 value is equals to 1. But here, such type of information is not present in your given data. So that's why you can go for L1 value is equals to 1.428. So answer is A. Okay, so answer is A. So this is the solution for the 29th problem. Then let us consider one more problem. This is the last problem for this class. For example, if you see this problem, it seems to be takes a lot of time for our conventional procedure. But by seeing this, easily you can pick up one correct answer. within a short time. Now tell me the answer now for this question. Drop your answer in our chat box. So drop your response for this problem in our chat box. Yes, some people are saying that answer is A. On 18 series, 218 is giving that answer is B. And similarly, my point is when you are solving any PSU's questions, these questions are not so tough. The point is you must apply our basics, and similarly you must apply our common sense, so that easily we can get the correct answer within a short time. They will not give you a tough problems because the time is very, very less. Within a short time, we need to pick up a correct answer. For example, when you get the same question in your university examination, then we need to go for a step-by-step procedure. But here, no need to follow any steps. Directly, your final answer is nothing but you need to pick up the answer. So let us consider this problem. 3 plants are there, and they have given the 3 incremental cost curves for IC1, IC2, and IC3. And similarly, we know the values of P1, P2, P3. These are nothing but inequality constraints for P1, P2, and P3. And one more important data is PD is equals to 700 megawatts. PD means here total demand. For example, when you are considering this is as lossless system, then you can consider PD is equals to P1 plus P2 plus P3 must be equals to 700. Then we need to find out here P1, P2, P3. For example, observe your given options. When you are adding P1, P2, P3 in all the 3 cases, definitely you will get 700 megawatts. No doubt about it. For example, if it is not equals to 700 megawatts, then you can leave that option. Okay, but in this case, when you observe all the options, P1 plus P2 plus P3 in all the 3 cases must be equals to 700 megawatts. But out of these 4 options, how to pick up a correct answer is by using of your given data. When you see the incremental fuel cost, by observing our fuel cost, then we can pick up the correct answer. For example, when you consider the IC3, the incremental fuel cost for IC3 is equals to 30 rupees per megawatt hour. Means it is completely independent of power. IC3 is always 30 rupees per megawatt hour only. It is always 30 rupees per megawatt hour only. It is independent of how much power you are generating by using total power plant. Okay. Similarly, when you are considering IC1 and IC2, these two are depends upon your P1 and P2. Means when you are changing your P1 generation, you can change IC1 value. When you are changing your P2 generation, you will get some change in your IC2 value. Means your P1 and P2 is nothing but a function of IC1 and IC2. But coming to the IC3, this is completely independent of generation. It is always 30 rupees per megawatt hour. Whether you are generating 50 megawatt or whether you are generating 300 megawatt, the IC3 is always equals to 30 rupees per megawatt hour only. Now tell me, by using a third power plant, is it preferable to generate 50 megawatt or is it preferable to generate 300 megawatt? Drop your response in our chat box. Which is preferable? Very good. Some people are saying that 300 megawatts. So which is preferable? Here, by using of your third power plant, if you are generating 50 megawatt, the cost is equal to 30 rupees per megawatt hour. Similarly, even though if you are generating 300 megawatt, Your cost is nothing but 30 rupees per megawatt only. Then which is better? It is better to generate 50 megawatt, or it is better to generate 300 megawatt by using stored power plant? It is better to generate 300 megawatt by using a stored power plant. So that's why your P3 value must be equals to 300 megawatt. So when you are considering options, here in the A, P3 value is equals to 300 megawatts. Similarly, when you consider the B option, your P3 value is 300 megawatts. Then again, out of these two, we need to pick up one more answer, that is A or B. Again, consider IC1 and IC2. Now tell me, in between these two, which one is more? IC1 is more or IC2 is more? Already I told you that. For example, when incremental fuel cost is less, then automatically that particular power plant will take more share. If the incremental fuel cost is more, then that power plant will take a less power. Now tell me, in between these two, which is more? IC2 is more. So that's why IC2 will take less power when compared to the IC1. Now tell me, compare these two. Tell me answer now. When you compare IC1 and IC2, P1 must take more power because the IC1 is less when compared to IC2. When you see the IC2, this is more when compared to IC1. So means P2 will take less power. So from this, tell me your answer. Yes, very good. So many people are giving that. Answer is A. Okay. So like this, you can pick up right answer from the given options. So how much time we are spending? Just within fraction of time, we can get the answer. Okay. So this is nothing but 30th problem. So with this, I'm concluding this today's session. And tomorrow will be the last class for your first unit. And tomorrow we will try to solve, only 2 questions are there from GATE and IAS. And with that, I will close your first unit. Okay. Thank you very much.